What's up, guys? It's Jensen. Welcome to another video. So we're at about the midway point of this NFL season, and teams like the New England Patriots, San Francisco 49ers, and Green Bay Packers have shown why they're true contenders to win the Super Bowl. And I mean, all those teams, they're well deserving to be placed among the Super Bowl favorites, and no argument against any of them. But guys, one team's been really ignored when it comes to the Super Bowl picture, and that's the Minnesota Vikings. And I mean, I have the Minnesota Vikings as my sleeper pick to win the Super Bowl this year. Now, obviously, everyone remembers last year they went 8-7-1 after there were so many expectations for them last year, getting Kirk Cousins, and everyone was so excited about that team, and they fell well short of expectations. I'm not denying that. But guys, this is a new year. They're not far behind the Green Bay Packers for the NFC North Division lead, and they have one of the best, most well-rounded rosters in all of football. Let's start with that defense, though. Other than the New England and San Francisco defenses, who would you rather have in all of football right now? I mean, these guys have playmakers all over the field. Harrison Smith, one of the more underrated safeties in the NFL. I mean, we're always talking about Earl Thomas and Jamal Adams when it comes to safeties, but guys, Harrison Smith belongs up there. He always makes the key tackles. He has such a profound impact on the Minnesota Vikings defense. And as a Chicago Bears fan, I've been able to see firsthand what Harrison Smith has done in those Bears-Vikings games. And, I mean, this guy's for real. We have to talk about him more. He's a big-time player. They got guys on the defensive line. I mean, Danielle Hunter's one of the more underrated defensive ends in the league. I mean, I know he's not quite Nick Bosa or Myles Garrett, and those guys receive a ton of credit for what they do for their respective teams. But Danielle Hunter's a pretty bad dude, too. He gets a lot of sacks, and he's a pretty good pass rusher. He's not as talented as Nick Bosa or Myles Garrett, but we need to talk about him more as well. And Xavier Rhodes is a shutdown cornerback, guys. I mean, he's not quite Jalen Ramsey. Let's make that very clear. I'm not trying to compare him to Jalen Ramsey, but, you know, he's a pretty shutdown cornerback type guy. I mean, I'd feel pretty good if I had Xavier Rhodes going up against the other team's number one receiver, because he just gets it done. And, I mean, they got a ton of other guys, too. Linval Joseph is a big-time defensive tackle, stuffing up the run. They got some real players on defense, guys, and I really like them on defense, especially coached by Mike Zimmer. What a great defensive mind he is. And, you know, that defense, they're going to show up all year. And on offense, guys, I mean, they might have the best skill position players in the NFL. Dalvin Cook needs to be considered the top 5 running back. This guy has been dynamic this year. And Alexander Madison, their backup running back, I mean, he's looked pretty good in limited carries as well. I really like that running game, and it shows because they're the top 5 running game in the league right now. I mean, they're not quite San Francisco, but they're pretty good. And wide receiver-wise, guys, I mean, with respect to Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, I really feel like Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs are the best 1-2 wide receiver combination in the NFL. I mean, Adam Thielen, he's just a consistently solid guy. He doesn't make a ton of flashy plays, but he always gets the job done. I really admire a guy like Adam Thielen, where he doesn't really create any locker room issues. He just goes out and balls. And a guy like Stephon Diggs, same situation, doesn't create any locker room drama. He's a more vertical threat, a little bit more dynamic, but, I mean, he just goes out and plays football. These are the type of guys I want on my team as wide receivers. You know, you don't want guys like Antonio Brown to create locker room problems, and these guys are the complete opposite, where they're great locker room guys, in my opinion. But, guys, I mean, this hot take comes down to Kirk Cousins. The Vikings have absolutely everything they need to win the Super Bowl this year. They even have a big-time kicker. I mean, Dan Bailey, a veteran who's made kicks in big games before. I mean, with the money on the line, you want a veteran kicker who, you know, when he steps onto the field, he's going to kick in. It's going to be solid gold. And as a Chicago Bears fan, I know that a solid kicker is really needed in playoff situations when the games are tight. And I believe in Dan Bailey to make those big-time kicks when it counts. But Kirk Cousins, he's got to show up. Can he make the big throws in primetime games when the lights are brightest? Will Kirk Cousins show up? And up until a couple games ago, I thought, no. He's just kind of a garbage time guy. Puts up the stats, but watching him, he's not that impressive. But, I mean, things have changed the past couple of weeks, guys. I mean, they scored 38 points against the Philadelphia Eagles, 42 points against the Detroit Lions, and while they only scored 19 points against the Washington Redskins, they didn't need to score much to win that game, and the stats don't tell everything, guys. I mean, Kirk Cousins only got 285 yards that game, but every throw was on the money. I mean, he didn't make a single bad decision, and the running game was pretty good that game, and Kirk Cousins just really, he played the role of game manager plus. He was better than the game manager in that game, and, I really like Kirk Cousins from a personality standpoint as well. I mean, he seems to be like a great leader, a great locker room guy. Yeah, he has that intensity. We remember from a couple years ago when he shouted, "You like that," going into the locker room for Washington. And, I like that guy who has like that intensity. Yeah, he's a great locker room guy. He responds well to criticism. Everyone's been criticizing him for the past year plus. I mean, analysts, fans, even me. I've been very critical of Kirk Cousins, and because he has not showed up for the most part. But I mean, to be able to block out all the outside noise and perform for these last couple weeks, I've been very impressed with Kirk Cousins as a person. I mean, that's where he's different from a guy like Mitchell Trubisky, where you can see the outside pressure and noise really affects Trubisky and he becomes a shell of himself. And Kirk Cousins is the complete opposite, where he seems to be able to block out the noise and just play football. That's the type of guy I want leading my team as a quarterback. And, I mean, if Kirk Cousins is on point, guys, they have everything else. Is there really a team in the NFL where you would look like and say the Minnesota Vikings have no chance? Even in the NFC, if they were to play the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, Drew Brees is better than Kirk Cousins, and the New Orleans defense is pretty real, too. And obviously, that game would most likely be at New Orleans. And obviously, Mercedes-Benz Superdome. We know how loud that stadium gets. But I wouldn't completely count the Vikings out. If Kirk Cousins is on the money, getting the ball consistently to Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, even Kyle Rudolph, a solid tight end, Dalvin Cook lighting up the league. Hopefully he doesn't get injured, guys. I mean, we know he has an excessive injury history. But if he's able to stay on the field, Alexander Madison being able to do his thing, and that defense show up. I mean, who's to say they can't beat the New Orleans Saints? Who's to say they can't beat the Green Bay Packers or the San Francisco 49ers? I mean, this team is for real if Kirk Cousins shows up. And obviously, we'll learn a lot more about what the Minnesota Vikings are made of in the next couple of weeks. Can they keep it up? I'm going to be very observant of what the Minnesota Vikings do. But I believe in this team, guys. Obviously, as a Chicago Bears fan, I want to see them fail. I hope I'm wrong. But, I mean, you got to say the facts. And the facts say that, Minnesota Vikings are for real, even if no one else sees it. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been an MVP candidate this year, guys. I mean, 1,997 yards, 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions with a 115.2 pass rating. So he's shown this year that, I mean, he should be placed among the NFL's very best. If it wasn't for Russell Wilson this year, we'd be talking about Kirk Cousins as an MVP candidate. And I really feel like Kirk Cousins is going to take the next step. He's going to deliver consistently for the next couple weeks. And Minnesota is going to be a dangerous team heading into the playoffs this year. I mean, I think they'll lock up a wild card spot, and after that, you never know. It's the NFL playoffs. Anything can happen. That's it for this video, guys. Please like and subscribe. It's been fun. I'll be providing you with more NFL and NBA hot takes as the season goes on, and see y'all later.